I've seen 8 different operatives, starting from Sheikh Shamim till Black Tiger, till Sarabjit, till Kashmir Singh, till Kulbhushan Jadhav himself, till P. Moses. They've been involved in bombings in Lahore, in Sialkot, in Kashmir, in Jhelum, in Quetta, in Peshawar, and now it's Karachi, and not in even in the mainstream. We are talking about a remote town called Matli, and they've executed a guy who was a social worker, a guy who was completely you know, uh, he was totally, I would say, that not in that business at all, where he could be eliminated, and that could be celebrated as an objective. So your comment on that, Vikas Saab?
I think Indian research analysis is having a history of basically running murderous gangs, and they have actually, I would say, two sections. One deals with internal, suppression of dissent and even killing. I'll just, get into the internal one first. It is Gauri Lankesh, Professor Dabulkar, Professor Pansare. So these were taken out by some of the RSS shakhas, but they had definitely state sponsorship. Then we have Samjhauta Express. Now, you've already mentioned the history in Pakistan, and Pakistan has been, I think, taking its case to international community a number of times, including sharing of dossiers. When I think Gilani Saab handed over dossiers to Manmohan Singh with complete evidence. But somehow, India, since it had, I would say, some clout in the Western world, they would get away with it. Now, if you look at this case of Karachi, is very similar to what was happening. I just compared the two cases. One is against this innocent man in Badin, Matli. So you have some guy with name of Sanjay Kumar. Then he has, another layer of people, and then hired guns who come and assassinate, and then they run away, and some of them are apprehended. Same, and they operate from Gulf. Very unfortunate. And then same is the playbook which was used against, Gurpratap Singh Pannu in North America. It was Vikas Yadav, who was basically a research and assessing officer, and then he had frontman Nikhil Gupta. Then he hired, an assassin, and then they were caught basically. And there is also involvement of Vishnu. So it's very typical playbook. The only thing is that now North America realizes, Canada and US, that India is basically now getting out of their shoes and trying to kill, American and Canadian citizens. So one is that this has now become an international case of transnational oppression. I think Pakistan has, I would say, an environment where it can take this case to either international criminal court or even share the dossiers with the international community and expose, India. Unfortunately, there are four ministries, in my analysis, four ministries which are involved, the Indian four ministries. So the orders come from Doval's office, which is under PMO's office. Then you have Ministry of External Affairs, which provides logistics in Canada and North America, and I'm sure they must be doing it here. And then Ministry of Defense. You look at those 8 naval officers retired who were doing spying and were basically punished with death. But then Modi Saab had to go and beg the Amir of Qatar. And then is, of course, the Ministry of Interior, which runs the gang inside. So I would say this is an official state-sponsored terrorism, and it must be called out in the same manner. And we need to basically now expose India, especially their government, for state-sponsored terrorism.
Vikas Saab, you have actually tried to share a lot of topics over here, and I cannot go into the detail of all of them. But two very important things which you've just mentioned. One is that India always happened to just get away with everything, with all the evidence presented to the global world, with all the neutral observers accusing India of a state-sponsored terrorism. They just get away. They just tend to get away with that. And based on what's happening after May, that Indian narrative is pinned down globally. The global powers which were once celebrating India on every occasion, they are now raising their brows. They're now having a lot of suspicions over Indian intentions. So don't you think that this is the right time that we should again call the neutral observers from across the world, from anybody who has got a reputation globally, and then we can present this evidence just like AIG Azad has presented in front of the media. We can present such evidence in front of them and convince them that India, the way they have been accusing Pakistan of harboring terrorism, they are actually the ones who have been actually doing it for the past 50 years. Your opinion on that, sir?
I think this is a very apt time because after 10th May 1, Pakistan is a very different Pakistan. India has been exposed very badly. And if you look at the way the West now views India, basically, they were trying to prop it up as a counterweight to China, but now they got beaten from Pakistan. So it's not a lot of credibility. Then, of course, there are issues. I would say that we go back 2 years when Justin Trudeau highlighted on the floor of the parliament. I think the West did realize, especially the Five Eyes, even Australia and New Zealand had the input, and UK. There was also murder of Atar Singh Khanda in UK. Then I think Rishi Sunak was the prime minister, so they hushed it up. But now things are changing. So I would say I'll agree that this is the right time. The iron is hot, and then of course there's the ample evidence. The playbook is very similar, and it's basically research and analysis wing, and these I would say four ministries, supporting it through logistics, and then you look at the money laundering. Even in case of Vikas Jadhav, when